You know the expression, be careful what you wished for? Good, because that's the best way to describe the situation that we're all facing right now, and it affects us all. Bear that in mind. And I'm genuinely upset, offended, and everything in between. Now you might be asking why. Well, allow me to tell you why. So recently, who did it? Who done it? Is it Dreamworks? It is Dreamworks. So recently we received news, very exciting news, that an all-time classic, Megamind, would be getting a sequel. Now, I don't know if you know this, but back in like the 2010s, it was the thing. It was an amazing movie, amazing voice actor, amazing story. It was just good. So when I heard that we were getting a sequel, I, like most people, got so giddy. It's like, oh, yes, sequel. I can't wait to hear more Will Ferrell, more funny quips. And then I went to go watch it and immediately died inside. Shriveled. Because upon watching the trailer, it becomes immediately clear that this is not going to be a good movie. Why, you might be asking? Because the animation is... It's a war crime, practically. Within the first couple seconds of watching this trailer, it becomes abundantly clear that it's worse than what we had 14 years ago. And this is shocking, because you would normally think that as time progresses, animation would get better. Apparently that's not the thing that happens anymore, because every animation, every movie, and their mothers have just been getting worse and worse when it comes to animation and CGI. My all-time favorite comparison when talking about this specific issue is Pirates of the Caribbean, Davy Jones. Because the animation and the CGI for Davy Jones was just fantastic. The way it moves, the way it looks like that's something that you could actually run into. And even years later, you'd think that the animation and the CGI would get worse, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes as time progresses, you look back at old movies, look at the CGI, and look at the animation, like, it's not as impressive as I remember. But Davy Jones has remained consistently one of the best pieces of CGI and animation I have ever seen. And yes, there is a difference between CGI and animation, because it's tracking somebody instead of, doing it from scrap. But even then, I think the principle still stays the same, because we have good animations that still have good animation, like Kung Fu Panda 4, the trailer that dropped a couple months ago, and still looks really good. The animation still looks really impressive. So it can be done. But then you look at stuff like She-Hulk. I mean, that was a big controversy, how bad the CGI for She-Hulk was. Also considering that it was done by Marvel, a multi-billion, something rich out the wazoo. So they have the ability to make really impressive stuff, and they just don't for some reason. And that principle is the same with Megamind, because the first movie had really good animation for its time, and it still has good animation for its time. And then you look at this, which was released 14 years later, it looks worse. I don't know what kind of cocoa melon mush they were putting down their gullets, but it just doesn't look good. And I remember seeing a specific comment on the trailer, because all the comments all of them are really vocally airing their grievance on the animation. Don't worry, this isn't a hot take from me. But one of my favorite comments on that video is from somebody that said that it looks like a mobile game ad, and I could not have agreed more. But the most shocking thing is this is Dreamworks. Dreamworks has really good animation, and they've released classic after classic, and I just don't understand how they could have made such a wrong turn. I don't know what happened. I don't know who's in charge of Dreamworks. I don't know why they decided to change the animation into something even more dumbed down in kiddie, but it's painful to watch. My eyes burn whenever I watch this thing. But even moving past the animation, because the animation is my biggest gripe, and it's the biggest gripe of everybody that has watched the trailer. But apart from that, there are other really major issues with this trailer. First of all, Will Ferrell's kaput. He's not there anymore. He's gone. Nada. Bing bang boom. Voice. Instead, Megamind is going to be acted by Keith Ferguson, which is not Will Ferrell. And the voice is okay, but it's very noticeable that it's different, and not exactly good different. It's not bad, but it's just not good. It's not what it should be. And yes, voice actors come and go. That's just life as a voice actor. You can have that ability to swap people very easily. It's nice that way. But the change in the voice is very noticeable, for me at least. And when it comes to classics like Megamind, it's going to be really hard to pull that off. Even harder when the animation looks like dog water. But moving past that, you look at the plot of the movie, and it's okay, I guess. The truth is, there was not much to go off of after the first movie because they kind of tied it with a nice, neat bow. But now that they're doing a sequel on Peacock, because of course it's Peacock. But let's do a little sidebar because let's put a little positive spin into this very, very sad video. And that's a good job to Peacock. They went from a nothing streaming service to a name that's well known and well regarded and has their own original. So good job, Peacock. You're doing good. But let's talk about this thing you're about to create and why it's bad. As I was saying, they tied it off with a nice, neat bow, not much to go off of. But the new plot basically is Megamind. He's now a superhero because sure, why not? That was how he was left off last time, so it makes sense. And now he has to fight off his old supervillain friends. That, you know, the ones that we never heard of in the first movie. Again, not many places to go with when it comes to plot, but, you know, that's the route they decide to take. And that's pretty much it. Megamind is now a superhero fighting supervillains in his super metrocity area. But the animation, man, it's so bad. I think what makes this so hold on, actually, I need to show you this real quick because I had a tab open so I could remember the new voice actor for Megamind. And we have this video. Where's Megamind 2? 8 months ago. Well, I'm sorry Ollie's filming, but maybe it was better that it never came out. What I think makes this so painful though is that this is something that, as that video just entailed, this is something that people wanted. People wanted a sequel to this masterpiece, to this old classic that everybody knows and loves. And then when it gets finally announced, it gets everybody's hopes up, and then they see what's actually being produced, and then they find out that it's so bad. We got blue-balled by the blue man. And the crazy thing is that when I first heard about this trailer that came out, I thought that it was fake. Not even kidding. The reason why I thought it was fake was, one, the animation just looks so terrible, but also I didn't really see a whole lot of hype around it. In fact, if you go look at the trailer, I struggled to find one that was over 1 million views. There were hundreds of thousands, sure, but not even breaking that million mark. And usually when trailers come out, they're at least 10 million or high millions. So yeah, not a whole lot of people watching that trailer, champ. But then when I found out that it was real, I shattered into 1 million billion tiny pieces. Because it's so unfortunate that this is a route that was now being taken. And the sad thing is, because one thing that I saw people put on the internet is like, well, we managed to get them to change the Sonic movie. We can get them to change this. The design for the old Sonic was bad. We got them to change that. We can do it again. No, you can't. Because this thing's already animated. The thing with Sonic is that it was just one part of the movie. The rest of it was real life. It was real life footage of, you know, film. But this thing is entirely animation. There is no way that they're going to be able to reanimate all of it before, you know, their deadline. And sure, they might be able to boost it back a little bit, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to change it because it's such a waste of money. I'm sorry, it just is. The fact is, this is the direction that they decided to go. Storyline, voice actor, you know, maybe they couldn't get Will Ferrell. Whatever. But the animation was something that they had entirely in their control and in their power, and they managed to screw it up to a degree that's not even humanly possible. And you're Dreamworks, man. You're Dreamworks. You are a titan of industry. I don't even know how this happened. If I've learned anything from this monstrosity, on top of other monstrosities that I've seen, is maybe just let the past be the past. Maybe you don't need a sequel. If it isn't broke, don't fix it. And when it comes to animation, if it's working, don't change it. Don't change it into this monstrosity that people are now going to have to watch. And here's the thing, even if the plot was the most amazing thing in the world, the animation change would be so, I'd argue, be so jarring that people would not be able to watch it properly. I think they'd be so thrown off by the animation that, yeah, nothing, they wouldn't be able to watch it. Well, if you're interested in watching this movie, it'll be on Peacock, as always, so, we're just gonna see what happens with that. But if I were to make a personal prediction, I don't think it's gonna do good. I think it is going to crash and burn, as movies tend to do nowadays, but, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. My name is Roxer, and I bid you all adieu.